Hello, everyone. It's Micah. I'm back 2 days in a row. So today I want to talk about my online presence. If I had a larger audience, this would count as a shameless promotional plug. But since I don't, this will just be just another topic, I guess. As I was regrouping and getting my mind back together to get back to doing uh, the extracurricular, so to speak, work that I wanted to do for myself, including these videos, I was taking a survey of what lies out there in the world of the internet. What is my internet footprint? And I generally think of it as depressing and sad in the sense that I've only sporadically posted things over the years. I've not had a lot of success sticking with any of my ideas for in the various formats that I've gone at it, that I've tried to do things, create content online. And I was looking over my different blogs and websites, and I took a step back and I actually realized that I'd been kind of harsh on myself. Now, for sure, I have not gotten lots of subscribers and a lot of hits, and I certainly haven't made any money doing this over the years. But I have managed to accumulate some of my thoughts and feelings and create a space where I could be with my interests and be with my thoughts about things and put them out there for the world to see. So I've actually not done a bad job, and I really should be a little bit more generous toward myself with these things. And it also gave me more hope and motivation to actually get back out there and create more content. Ultimately, I don't ever expect to monetize this in any significant way. I really just want to have a record out there of some of the things that have been on my mind, some things that I think might be valuable for other people. But today I just kind of wanted to talk about what exists out there on the internet that I've created. And this is kind of a full circle post because it's a way of me summarizing where I've been so I can chart where I'm going. The first site I started was about 20 years ago, which sounds crazy to say, but and actually I think it may go back even further. But when I actually purchased the domain off of and took the blog off of the WordPress platform, was maybe about 20 years ago. And that was my first domain, ememon.com. ememon.com. It's short, it's punchy. I've been relatively surprised over the years at the number of short, punchy domain names that are available for cheap that, for whatever reason, no one really wants. And to me, ememon was a cute little shorthand for what I wanted to do, because it was my initials spelled out, EMEM, and then on, which was to say that I was going to be speaking on this issue or that issue or another issue. So it was basically conceived as ememon music, ememon politics. So yes, I can hear myself saying that and realize that maybe it's not quite as punchy as I thought it might be, and I think it does require that explanation. So anything that you have to explain like that, not going to work so well. But I do still have a fondness for it, and it's still my base website where I just post blogs about any and everything that's on my mind. So when I've been up in arms about social or political issues, or going through something personally that I wanted to share my perspective on, that's where I turn to and write. And so there's probably a few dozen blog posts on there. Not something I was doing religiously every day by any means. There were spurts of activity where I was focused in, and I was like, I'm going to make this blog happen, and I'm going to devote myself to it. and then there would be long stretches where I would just not do anything. Sort of like, and that's been my pattern over the years. That's how it's been with these YouTube videos. I went from basically the beginning of the year all the way through to almost June without posting anything. I was just so dragged down into my own thoughts and feelings, and it's just a lot to navigate, and I kind of, in some ways, I didn't want to present that version of myself out there, even if I were, trying to pretend like I wasn't having those moments, and I tried to be cheerful. I felt like it would still come through. Also, I have a lot of self-consciousness about my appearance, and so my light just went out for good, as if in response. Now I'm going to look even worse on camera, but I've had a lot of image issues. I also have a lot of issues with my speaking voice, my diction, all this stuff. I'm very paranoid, and when I'm so much in my thoughts and being in that down place, in that sunken place, as I called it yesterday, I definitely do not want the extra vulnerability of putting that out in the world for someone to nitpick at. So it's only when I'm feeling a little stronger emotionally that I even want to do the videos. But part of what I'm trying to do, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, is that, I can't wait around for a facelift. Not that I'm going to do that. Can't wait around for speech classes to make myself more eloquent. I can't wait around for my ideas to formulate into perfectly coalesced thoughts and action items to save the world. I have to, if I'm going to put my feelings out there, I'm going to have to some degree stumble over my words, fight through my feelings, and put the stuff out there as imperfect as it is. And although, there may not be a huge audience for it, at least I made the effort. And that's kind of where I am with this right now. But that was my base website, mmon.com. Over the years, I started several other pages through WordPress, some Janet Jackson related specific site, a current events site, which started with high hopes, but in retrospect it seems kind of silly. And that was called This Is Today, and I don't know, I may have briefly bought that web domain, but it's now just exists as the remnants of that in WordPress. So there's a few things that I've launched over the years, and then I'm trying to think what the next in line was after that. The next one of note, I guess, would be the Micah1814.com, which I launched a couple of years ago. That's chronologically not the next site that I did, but it's the next most important site because right now it's sort of a landing page where you can click through to my YouTube channel, my other YouTube channel, Micah1814, which is the Make Music Better channel, which is me doing music reactions and music commentary. I'm playing with the idea of starting that back up really, really soon as well. Was sort of my baby. About a year and a half ago, I really invested a lot of time and effort into launching that channel, figuring out how to do the little screen, finding some video software that would do that for me, figuring out how to emulate the setups that I see on other people's reaction videos, and putting together an opening sequence, all that kind of stuff. So I was really proud that I was able to launch that, and it was promising for a bit. A couple of my videos got into the thousands of views, but ultimately it was depressing because most of the videos, and usually the ones that I really, really wanted to take off, where I felt like I had something important to say, those were the ones that got dozens of views instead of hundreds or thousands. And after a while, the effort just didn't seem worth it. As I said, I'm digging back into my own resources, and I'm trying to not think so much about, clicks and views and that type of thing. And so I'm feeling just about ready to relaunch with a slightly different approach, but that will be for that channel and that website. So that website is really sort of more of a landing page. I would like to build it out a little more if the channel takes off, but we'll see about that. Then I had unsouthern.com, which was something I launched in 2021. It was my big pandemic project where I wanted to explore my Southern identity or my lack thereof. I'm from the South. I've lived in the South my entire life. And for those of you who may be international, this is the southeastern United States, which we call colloquially the South. And, as you may or may not notice, my accent, which I'm sure lots of people will notice it, but you probably aren't hearing as much of a Southern accent as you might expect from someone who spent their entire life here. That sort of speaks to, no pun intended, my trying to get away from my Southern heritage more so than embracing it. My day-to-day life does not feel Southern. It feels very, to me anyway, cosmopolitan. That's always kind of more what I've considered myself. Even before I lived in the city, I felt like I was drawn to a more of an urban lifestyle, and I never really related to the people that were around me. I still don't. I still haven't found my people, really. I kind of am my own person, and I just don't belong to any group. No matter, what my personal identifiers are, I don't really belong to a group. And Unsouthern sort of encapsulates that from the Southern identity perspective. I'm from the South, but not of the South. So I did several posts. I even I took a lot of time and care with these posts to make them curated, themed. I even took some pictures. I took a picture of a bowl of grits that I made. Doing photography is way above and beyond for me when it comes to a blog post. I really put all of myself into that project for about a month. I even bought ads on Facebook and even spammed my Facebook friends and said, hey, check out my, and all that stuff. And nothing seemed to take. Everybody has their own lives, and most people aren't going to go in and support those efforts. So it was a very, very hard launch, and I mean that as opposed to a soft launch, not difficult. And it just didn't resonate. And I've even got a kind of a built-out website still up, and you can go to it. It's unsouthern.com. And my blog posts and some of my general thoughts, I was very much of a mind at that time to kind of do better, make the world a better place. This was the whole 2020 social justice movement, and that's heavily reflected in some of the things I'm talking about there. And I thought that, all of that resonance would carry through and help get me some traction in terms of an audience. But, at the end of the day, they're just words on a page, and, it's kind of hard to market that. So I'm happy with that, and it's there for me if I ever want to go back and revisit and maybe post some updated content there. But across those three websites and a couple of others that I've done over the years, I think those are the only three actual domain names I currently own. And I feel like all of them are short and punchy enough that if they ever do blow up, they do already have kind of that domain name vibe going for them, I should say. I also recently bought my name. This was like GoDaddy got me with one of their promotions. They're like, buy your name as a domain. So I said, sure, I'll do that. I'd rather do that now than have to, maybe down the road buy it from somebody else. So I've got MicahMcCoy.com, which actually redirects to mmon.com because that's the closest thing to my me website. This is who I am website. And so those are my three sites. And then I have this separate YouTube channel where I'm basically just, I guess you could call it behind the scenes. This is just more or less my video diary, this channel. So there's no real agenda here. And, but I think my next steps is maybe get back with the music reactions, because that got the most visibility of anything I had done. Go back and revisit and think about doing more on the mmon.com, like thinking about blog posts, that thoughtful blog posts, treating that site the way I always have, but then also in addition to that, starting to kind of document who I am. Like if I have memorabilia, take pictures of it, put it up online, because when I'm no longer around, my stuff is probably just going to get tossed in a dumpster, more or less. I probably won't have anyone to give it to. And even if I did, well, at this point it's hard to predict, but even if I did have someone that I could say, you can have my stuff, they would politely take it after I gave it to them, after my demise, and then they would just throw it in the dumpster. So for me, for me, it's important to do this digitally. Like I really want to have a record of like stuff I wrote, either take pictures of it or actually type it in and have it online. Just have a repository of things that are me, and who knows what happens from there, but at least I made the effort. So I kind of want to do some archiving in a section of that website, and then keep on with the music reactions. And I guess there's lots of stuff that I want to learn and study and react to, and I think I really want to figure out a way of documenting the things that I learn, documenting the things that I experience. And I'm just going to continue to plug away at that, and it'll be an iterative process. Heck, life is an iterative process. But I'm feeling better now over the past couple of days than I have in a really long time. And I know that, not to get overly philosophical, but life is fleeting. And sometimes the parts of your life where you have that initiative in that and can drive things forward and create momentum for yourself, those times can be fleeting as well. So to the extent that I can create some momentum to carry me through times when I'm not feeling as motivated, I want to do that now. So that's what this time is all about for me. I guess that's all I wanted to say for today. I'm going to take it one day at a time, but I really hope I can make it back tomorrow to share more about my journey, about my work in progress. If you've actually listened to this, thank you for listening. If you just had it going on in the background, the video's over, so you can go to the next one now. Take care.